Let authority take so. Say so. Let authority take so. Say so. Let authority say so. Say so. Let authority take so. Say so. Let authority say so. Say so. Let authority say so.
Shown on Kingdom Purpose TV Network presents Say So TV Show, a variety TV with an inspirational spin.
This is the Say So to Grow segment of the Say So TV show, where we discuss various topics with interesting people doing unique things in the Christian community. I'm your host, David Santiago, and we are here today with the author, illustrator, game designer, Paris White, and his lovely wife and business partner, Kona White, who are here to talk about their urban legend series and how they are impacting our community. Welcome.
Welcome. Hello. Thank you for having us on. Hi, David.
Go. 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 Insane challenges everywhere. If you make it to the block party, I'll be there. Go doing my dance, go pissing the air. Go the urban legend, summer adventure, the journey to be cool. Meet me at the block party, run around, have fun and eat some food. Okay, now move forward, switch places, move backwards, pick a card and drop, take a shortcut, play hopscotch, go best friend, then send them back. Run Paris, it's Chewbacca, grab your game piece, run home and stop, get your brother and your cousin, no one safe, not even mom and pops. The urban legend, summer adventure, the journey to be cool. Meet me at the block party, run around, have fun and eat some food. Okay.
Well, let's just get into it. Let's talk about the journey that led you to this place.
Okay. Well, we started our journey about 6 years ago when I was coming up with the idea for the book. I was writing it out and illustrating it, and me and my wife wanted to, break out our games and play our games that we had in our closet, but they were, dated, like Monopoly and so on and so forth. And we've been playing it for years and years and years. We wanted something new. So we went out to the store and tried to find something that, represented us, represented, African American culture, but we couldn't find anything. We came home, went online, and there still was nothing, not a trivia card, not any type of board game that represented. There were board game designers, but not games that represented us. So we sat down and started coming up with ideas for our own game, and put all our childhood memories in it, and then we came up with ideas like that made all the games that we played, combined them onto one game, and so we can have the most possible fun that we can get out of one game in itself. Yeah. So then that was 6 years ago, and once the book was done and released, it was, I think, 2018 when the book released, and then a year later I was done with the board game. It just fueled me getting it done and out for everyone, and try to get it out right before Christmas of 2019, and it did. It got out December 15th, and it definitely did very good once it landed.
So the birth of the book, the idea of the book, and the idea of the the game board, the board game,
Mhm.
were in unison, came together?
Well, the book, I believe, came first.
Yeah.
You wrote the book first, David.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of like along that way while he was still flushing out, the ideas of the book, we embarked on that other idea to, hey, take the book and
Oh yeah.
turn it into the board game.
Yeah.
I wanted to take that back.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Oh yeah. Yeah, well, yeah. When I was coming up with that, we came up with a lot of the ideas, but the game itself needed a story. So, and what we did was, for more educational value, is create a board game that told the same story that's in the book. So when children played the game, it would encourage them to read the book and learn the story about the board game.
Or vice
Or vice
versa. If you
versa.
read the book, then you'd be curious to go out,
wow.
play the game. And then I think the unique thing about the idea or the concept behind our game is that we really wanted to put an educational spin to the game, right? Not just have it play like Candyland or Sorry and Monopoly, but also, teach our young children, who they are, some of the great leaders that have come along the way and paved the way for them. Yeah. And so I think that's what makes this game, very unique in its own. And it's very important for our kids, right, to see themselves represented in the products that we buy and, the commercials and shows that they see. And so this was one area where we saw like, oh wow, there is very no to limited representation of us on the shelves. So,
and what she's referencing is the legendary trivia cards that add a more educational value to the game. The game itself, the little legend cards that's included with the game, those are make the game unique, where it's a picture find as well. So as the kids learn and look at the pictures, they're learning memory and word association as they're playing the game when they're young. And as they get older, you can introduce the trivia cards, which add more of a cultural education as they're getting older and still playing the game. It kind of, the game, the book, it all grows with your child.
With your family.
With your family, yes, because we all can learn a little more about our history as well.
As we are learning, as we, have embarked on this journey.
Absolutely. The title, Urban Legends.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit about the title and how does that connect with the story and the game?
Okay, the Urban Legend came about because these are my childhood stories. When I first thought of the stories that I was going to put in the book, these are the same exact ones I used to tell my daughter at bedtime to help her go to sleep, instead of telling her the same old, childhood stories that we grew up on, Jack and Jill, that didn't really relate to us. So I would tell her the stories and the troubles and adventures that I did. And truthfully, we all are in our neighborhood when we do some of the crazy stuff and survive some of the things we've done. We're all legends in our own way. We had some great legends that came out of the urban neighborhoods, from actors to stars to athletes. So everyone is a little legend. If you made it out of these tough areas, you're automatically a legend just from almost making it out. So that's where the title, The Urban Legend, came from. And it's every urban city, not just the city of Washington, D.C., Southeast Washington, where I grew up. It could be New York City, New Jersey, where my wife is from. She's from Newark, New Jersey. She definitely lived in an urban neighborhood. It could be.
Okay, I'm Jersey too.
Yeah.
Hey, Jersey.
Yeah, when you look at the board game, the things that you see, the walks from even the story, the walks from your elementary school home, being chased by neighborhood dogs, to some of the adventures that you have, like, riding your bike down steep hills or going to the neighborhood pool, and bullies in your neighborhood, to the amusement park. For her, for you, it would be Coney Island if you went up to New York, or Wildwood, where she go. But for me, it was King's Dominion, where we took our family vacations. And then the neighborhood block parties where, you know, it's all the same urban story told throughout city to city. So it's very relatable.
Yeah, that's true. It all connects, and if people can relate, that makes it, you know, just awesome piece and something that they can definitely grab a hold of.
Go. 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 The urban legend. Summer adventure. The journey to be cool. Meet me at the block party.
Yep.
What it say, Boo?
Nobody likes a bully.
Go stand in the corner.
To your next turn.
Thank you. Thank you.
In the corner.
In the corner.
Face the corner.
In the corner.
Go.
Whoever holds their breath the longest moves 4 spaces starting now.
I don't have it. All right, you what's up?
Thank you. So I move 4 spaces.
You know what?
1, 2, 4. What's the blue? Skip your cute little self. Oh! No, I was here. I was here.
All the way
no, babe. I was here.
No, you wasn't.
I was, because I...
Go.
Hold on tight. Sit backwards in your seat until your next turn.
Yeah.
If I fall, then what? How the hell? How am I supposed to do this? Hey,
Yo.
Go.
Feed me. Feed me.
Go.
Slow motion.
Super slow motion. You stupid.
The urban legend. Summer adventure. The journey to be cool. Meet me at the block party. Run around. Have fun and eat some food. Okay. Go.
Everybody out there that's interested in this story, and I'm sure plenty of people are, and of course, and the game and the trivia cards, could you elucidate and detail the story and the idea, everything about it?
Okay, this is the book. It's called The Urban Legends, Summer Adventures, The Journey to Be Cool. And it tells the story of Paris White at 10 years old and the adventures that he has during the hottest summer ever to make it through his neighborhood into the block party. The book, it's a storybook you can read to younger kids, a coloring book for as kids get older and they develop and read on their own. And then it's a series that they can follow, a 4-part series. I took that same story and created the board game, and this is the board game, and it's called The Urban Legend, The Journey to Be Cool, Summer Adventures. That same story is portrayed on the board game. The board game is a huge picture find that you can play start to finish, so it has great replay value. The trivia cards that's also coming out at the end of the March, they're called Legendary Trivia Cards, African American Top 10. That's the first set of the 4 series, first set of the series that's coming out. And they'll represent African American artists, inventors, athletes, scholars, and leaders of our time. And you can play Pictionary, charades, and Trivia Pursuit style games, but also incorporate them into the board game to add more of an educational value.
Yeah, that's very, very good, very educational, and you can grab so much from something like that, and that's awesome. What actually, you elucidate a little bit about what, the idea and once you started writing this story. But what was the inspiration? What kind of motivated you to really put this together?
What really motivated me was the lack of representation that we had on the game show. You go into Walmart and Target or Toys R Us when they were open, there was nothing for us. It's almost like when my daughter was young, when she was 4 or 5 years old, I went to go get a doll for her. There was no black dolls, or if there was one, it was one, and it probably was sold out. And it just, I just got tired of not being represented. And so I took that energy and put that into my idea to come up with the board game and the trivia cards, because when I was looking for the board game, I was like, well, there got to be trivia cards. There has to be something out there. And there was nothing that I could find. So I said, well, that's a hole that needs to be filled in. And when I did my market research, I also looked and just, I saw how well board games did with families, and especially during this time where we needed to be closer and bring ourselves families back together, back to the table in this technical world we live in now, where everybody's attached to their phone or computers or video game systems. I remember when I was young that it was family time to sit down and play the game. So that's what I'm seeing now when people that are getting my games, that families are back together having fun for game night, and the phone is not even a question when they're playing.
How important was it to have your wife involved?
She was pivotal, pivotal. When I say we sat down and came up with the ideas, we sat and laughed and joked and came up with some of the ideas for the board game. And I was sketching it out. I would bring it to her and show it to her, and she'd be like, no, you got to do that over again. And I'm like, what? It just took me 5 days to draw this, and I redo it and same thing. Oh yeah, let me show you the board game. When I say it was a lot of work. It's an 18 by 24 inches. So I'm sorry, it is huge, huge.
Oh, wow.
You see all that color and light in there. And we are definitely represented all throughout the board game.
Awesome.
So when I say I did everything from the designing the board game to designing the box, at one point I was creating this in my household, in my own house. I went out and bought the materials because it was just so expensive to get done. And so I was creating the materials myself. I was getting the prints done and printing everything out. So I know everything about creating a board game, to writing a book, to doing the illustrations, to making the videos. I did the song for the video for the game itself, and everything has just been a long journey, but it's been educational as well.
And for Kona, do you have a background in publishing and everything that you're doing as far as the business aspect, or was this something that you were interested in doing to you and your husband together, bring you guys closer together?
Well,
or both?
So I had no formal education and or experience in publishing and or gaming or game boarding industry. I have no experience with that. But what really, I think my version of the story would be is that Paris and I always talked about having a business, right? Having our own and being Black entrepreneurs. And this is like maybe 8-10 years ago before where we're at now, right? With understanding the value of the Black dollar. So it was always important for us to, try to spitball ideas and think of how we could, fulfill that dream. And so I always asked Paris, what did he think his God-given gifts were and his talents were? And he used to say he didn't know. And my husband used to write me poetry and stuff while we were dating. And he is an amazing storyteller. And so one day I was just like, hey, you are like an amazing storyteller. Like, you should really take some of these stories that you tell people and put them in a book. I mean, they're so interesting the way you take people through that journey. And so thinking about our daughter, little Paris, and all the stories that he would share with her, it kind of like made sense to say, hey, you really do like have a gift and a talent, and you should really like try to tap into that energy. And so for me, seeing him actually be dedicated and tap into that energy and develop like the first, I want to say maybe 4 or 5 chapters of the book was a beautiful journey. And then from there, like I said, we just kind of tapped into us being kids. We're like big kids, you know. We do water gun fights. We play games. We play tag. Like we're big kids. And so us being big kids and always, you know, playing games, it was just like, you know, we need to do something about that. Like big kids need to do something for the little kids of our age or our generation and under to, you know, show them what good times used to be and like really represent our communities. And like you said, the communities are pretty much, you know, the same wherever you go across this country, most urban areas, you know, and most of the stories we can relate to like cookouts, right? We used to have community cookouts and, you know, family gatherings and picnics. And some of those still happen today, which is why it would be relatable to this generation coming up or, you know, some of the other generations that followed. So it was important to like pinpoint some of those things in our communities that are represented across, you know, across.
And she's underselling her talent. My wife is she has 3 degrees and a master's. She has a business degree, a culinary degree, and a project management, a master's in project management. So she has been managing this project this whole time, and she is definitely the brains behind the the brains
behind the brawn.
Yeah, behind the brawn, the talent.
Nice.
She is definitely a pivotal part of our business and team.
Wow.
I know you guys probably got a lot of future ideas for the future, and
yes,
as a writer, and I'm sure she was talking about a lot of the ideas, a lot of the stories you have in your head that I'm sure will turn into a story or a book later on down the line. Do you plan on kind of just keeping this project alive, pushing it hard, marketing, promoting it, or working on another project in the meantime, or, you know, doing both as much as you can?
Well, I will be doing both. The next part of this project that's coming out is the second book and board game in the series, which is the Urban Legend Fall Olympics Going for Gold, where I took out childhood games like freeze tag, hide and seek, red light, green light, hot bread and butter, for if anyone that's from DC knows about that game. But I wrote those stories in a book and I turned it into Olympics around our neighborhood where we played these games and incorporated them into the board game. So now you may have to pick a card and play red light, green light to make it back to your seat, you know, around the board game. things like that. And I'm also working on a mobile app that you'll be able to play peer to peer. You'll have your neighborhood, and my neighborhood will be different from yours. And that idea came from what me and my wife's ultimate goal is, to have a nonprofit where we're going into schools and teaching them about financial literacy, how not to mess up their credit, how not to, how to balance balance a checkbook and invest and save in their future. But on the board game, say, I don't know if you've ever played like My Cityscape or Farmville, where you have a farm and you have to, invest into it and build it up. Now imagine now you got your neighborhood. Now you investing back into your neighborhood. You're building up your school. You're building up your housing community. You're building up your community center and your amusement park. So if you took, and you can, in the game, you'll be able to get clothes and vehicles to go around the board and play the game, but they would yield no benefit. But if you invested back into your housing, now when you land on a certain space and you incorporate, the trivia cards will be incorporated into it. So now when you answer a trivia question, you'll get coins, and then you'll invest those coins back into your neighborhood. And so if you're investing in your neighborhood, when I go to yours, it's beautiful. If I haven't done it in mine, it's turned to the ghetto. It's starting to look bad. So it teaches kids how to invest in an app game as well as being educational, as, on the same part. And that is our ultimate goal, to have the app and the 4 sets of books, 4 sets of board games, and the 4 sets of trivia cards that come out. And that can even then be expanded beyond that. Paris goes to Africa. Paris goes to, Atlanta, and, highlight some of the things that's in Atlanta, in Atlanta, Georgia. So it's definitely expandable beyond what it is, even a cartoon or movie one day. That's my hopes and dreams also.
Tell us why it's important from you. I would like both of you to answer this on your own. For you to do something that you can actually, turn into a business, but also give back and help, assist, change, do all those things to the neighborhood and people around.
Because of and who will do it. I mean, we must take it upon ourselves as a community of people, as a race of people, and as just, people of color, to constantly push the marker forward, And so this, like I said, this was a space in an area where I saw very limited representation, but yet millions, billions of dollars is made from our children, buying the games and supporting the product. But their faces may only be on the cover, but not in the game. Or you may see them in the commercial, but not in the game.
They don't come out. They don't come
out.
But
now, things are changing these days. And so, like I said, the concept was maybe 8 years ago. So, things are changing, and representation is starting to increase. However, I have yet to see anything like the Urban Legend Summit Adventures Journey to Be Cool board game.
Yeah, a lot of times I challenge people, when I'm talking to them about the game. It's like, go to Walmart, go to Target, go look on the shelf, go get a game. If you see one that where we're represented like this, bring it back to me. I'll buy it from you. And they already know that there's nothing that represents them. So that there tells me that how much we need this, how much it should be in every home. I remember when I first was coming up with the ideas, and I was telling my wife, this needs to be in every, African-American household, even beyond that, because there definitely could be the Urban Legend Latino version, or the Urban Legend, Asian version, because they definitely have communities here in the neighborhoods like we do. So, it's definitely, it wasn't meant to be all African American. It definitely meant to be urban. Anyone who grew up in the city can relate to this game. So it's just important to get it out.
How do you guys tie that in, like where someone could say, wow, he nailed it, she nailed it. You guys put it there, and just how did you accomplish that feat?
Well, I'm okay. All right, let me just tell this quick story. So I'm challenged a lot when I'm telling people about the game, and I tell them it's from the neighborhood I grew up in Southeast Washington, D.C. Especially in this area, they immediately say, "Oh, you from D.C. What part?" And I'll say I'm all from Southeast, and they look at the board game. Well, show me Southeast, and then I describe the areas, and then once I show them this is my elementary school, this was the apartments I grew up in, this is the housing my grandmother lived in, and this is the neighborhood corner store and amusement park. You know, you can see their face lighten up, almost like they reliving the city that they grew up in. And it's definitely a validation when they walk away with a game in their hand, like, and say, "Brother, you've done a great thing. This is, you know, something that I've been waiting for all my life." And I even tell them, I say, "I wish I had this game when I was young." You know, I'm almost envious of it that it's out now, and I didn't have it when I was young because it's that much fun to play.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
There's also what we always do is a lot of our interviews are with families and husband and wives that do things together. And we always, I know my producer would be, you know, just always likes to show people or have people that are being successful in their marriage and doing things together. Because a lot of times you have to have your thing and she has her own thing, but you guys are doing something together.
Yes.
And I know that sometimes that can be challenging. Tell people out there how you deal with those challenges and how actually I can tell that it has made you guys stronger.
Oh yes, definitely. You want to answer this one? You want?
Yeah, I'm good for putting people on the spot. Sorry, just my thing.
It has definitely. You hit the nail right on the head when you say that in a relationship, one person has to have their thing and the other has to have their own thing, almost to feel complete, or that they're adding the equal value. And I always have to, you know, encourage my wife to say, "Look, we're in this together. We're in this fight together." I'll come home and she's so tired of me talking about the game every day, what I'm doing or who I ran into and telling these stories. She's like, "Can we please have 5 minutes where we're not talking about this game?" So, because my wife, she's a contractor for a government, and she works cybersecurity. So her job is already demanding. So, for me to come home and add more of my stresses onto her, sometimes it's a lot. But she's been great. When I say great, she's been side by side. We've been doing this definitely together.
I would say so. Still learning, right? We're still learning, and we have our challenges. But for the most part, I think what works is having a divide in time. So there's a time to talk about the project or him building the business, and then there's a time for me to talk about work, and then there's a time for us to just talk about us, and then there is a free fall, type of period where we spitballing ideas, yes, any and everything, bills, appointments, whatever.
What's on the calendar.
Right. And we do have a what's on the calendar type of
meeting.
Yeah, meeting, you would say, like tag up. So I think it's that helps.
But it's definitely
balance, but
it's definitely the love that holds us together.
Yeah, we bump heads.
Yeah.
He's the creative genius, and then here I am with my little 2 cents, and it doesn't fit, the creative picture. And it's like, well, why can't I have my little input?
And truthfully, it's been a spiritual journey more than anything. It's been a blessed spiritual journey. Mm-hmm. So many miracles have happened in order for me to be here. As I was telling your producer, Alita, that when I first started out, it was almost spoken to me to get this done. And as I sat back, how you create something and you step back and look at it, and it was like, wow, I didn't even know I could create this. And as it got more and more, it just became more of a spiritual journey. And even on the day that my games arrived, I was working as a warehouse manager. And the day that my games arrived, UPS was calling me, asking me to be there. That same day, we had an office meeting, and I was laid off of my job due to COVID on December the 9th that day. So I didn't have that excuse to say, you know, I'm working all day, 10-hour days, 6 days a week sometimes, and I can't focus on the project. But now, when that happened, I had the time to get out into the community, shop my game around, and met some wonderful people. Some of the businesses, as you know, like Gallery Africa, Culture Art Gallery, Anacostia Art Gallery, these places like that who saw the potential in my project. I would have never met if these things didn't fall in line, if some things that happened with my wife during that time. You know, I've met, I was telling Miss Alita about my father. He's terminally ill with cancer, and my mom was really worried that these were his last moments, and I rushed over the house, but I was supposed to be in Forestville to shop the game around. But you know, when I got there, my father kind of started turning around and feeling better. So I was like, I really didn't want to miss this opportunity, but it was, you know, something told me, go to Forest, go to Forestville. So I went there to the mall, and I walked past this store that I wanted to shop my game in, and I said, you know, something told me go back. And I went in the store and I shopped my game around, and then another voice told me, ask him, do he know your brother? My brother had just recently passed due to COVID. And I asked him, I said, you know, do you know my brother, Charles Dyson? And he was like, not only do I know your brother, I dressed your brother for the funeral. You know, I was there at the funeral when we laid your brother to rest. So, you know, it was almost something spiritual that pushed me there, that led me to him. And actually this weekend, tomorrow, Friday and Saturday, I'll be doing pop-up shops in his store and promoting my game. And that's how we connected. And, you know, like I said, it's been a spiritual journey from the people that I met who inspired me and told me, you know, when stores were like, no, or, you know, didn't want the game, or said they weren't going to, you know, put their game in the store. When I came home, my wife can tell you, my head was hung low, you know, it really was, you know, and, you know, when I went to bed that night, I just had another vision that made me come up with the idea for the front of the trivia cards which is a picture of, you'll see that later. Oh, it's on the shirt. I'm sorry. Let's see. You can see that there. It's a picture of Africa that I turned into a face and has that legendary logo like on the trivia card. So that's now the face of trivia. But I actually was given that vision that night, and I got up that morning and jumped right into it and really created. So it's definitely been a spiritual journey.
That's awesome. As a writer and publisher for myself, I wanted to ask you guys a question, because with COVID and a lot of things that are going on, a lot of people have time to explore things. And I'm sure you've heard so many times before, someone always has an idea of a story and they want to write a story. But I want to ask a question, because I've been in this world for the publishing, writing world for quite a few years now. But I want to ask you a question, both of you. Kona's question is, what would you, because of course, when you're writing, you have to get your book published, or you should want to, right? And there's so many ways and so many different avenues to get your book published these days. What would be a lesson that you learned in publishing Paris's book, your book, that you would advise somebody else so they wouldn't have to go through the same thing in their journey in publishing?
Learn as much as you can. Take that time. Like sometimes I think, you know, we have a great idea and it's like, oh, I can get this done, you know, immediately, or like in like a month, and then I can just go and get it published and everything would be great. Well, you know, you can make a mistake of not having your writings copywritten before you jump out there and do the self-publishing thing. And that is a big no-no, because you never know, you know, if your book really takes off, you would want to have all those rights. So I would say, you know, sometimes it's really worth taking that extra, you know, hour a day and maybe doing that research or reading up on it before you commit to anything. So That's what I was.
Good. And now for Paris. One of the things that I always get as a writer is, how do I write my book? What would you tell a person? And I always say, just write it. Just get the thing off your head on paper, in a computer or something. But what would advice you give to someone who's attempting to write a book or put their story out there?
Um, Most people I would give advice to that's writing a book is that be confident in your story because the information is already in your head. You just have to get it on the paper. Like you said, you just have to get it out. So most writers, for me, you know, it has to start spiritually for me. I have to, you know, be in the right mood. I have to be in the right mind space. My mind has to be clear. But if it's befuddled with everything that's going on, then I can't write. But once I get my mind clear and I start those first few words, you know, are almost spiritually written because it's almost divine. Because once you get that start, it almost pours out of you after that. You as a writer, it come out pours on the page, and you're even writing it and laughing or writing it and experiencing all the things that you write as you're doing it. You may even have to step away and come back to it because it took you on an emotional journey or a trip down memory lane. So definitely, I would say, definitely get the story out because it's in your head. You just have to write it down. And even if it isn't all there, you have that outline. And then once you got, you started, it'll fill itself. It took me 6 years to do my book. And the reason why it took me 6 years because I kept putting it down. I would start it and putting it down and focus elsewhere. But if I talked to someone the other day, if I'd have just sat down and wrote it, it probably would only took me 3 months. But because I put it down and it just took me forever to get out. And then if I'd have done it in 3 months, I could have did illustrations in less than a year and had the book out. But because procrastination and not sitting down doing it took one guy to tell me 1 hour a day, sit down, dedicate that 1 hour a day to what you want to do. Forget everything else, even if it's when you first come home, like, hey, give me that hour. That hour turns into 2 hours or 3 hours or 4 hours or to the wee hours in the morning. It's 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. You just put in 6 hours of writing, and when you only started out with that hour. So if you dedicate that first hour, you'll go a long way.
Go the urban legend, summer adventure, the journey to be cool. Meet me at the block party, run around, have fun and eat some food. Okay. School is out and the sun is hot. Grab your piece and get to the stop. Go take shortcuts and play hopscotch. Make your way around the block. That's your friend at the head of the pack. Pick up cards and send them back. You'll never ever beat me like that. Move to the front, now that's payback. Crazy stunts and bully dares, insane challenges everywhere. If you make it to the block party, I'll be there. Go doing my dance, go pissing the air. Go the urban legend, summer adventure, the journey to be cool. Meet me at the block party, run around, have fun and eat some food. Okay, now move forward, switch places, move backwards, pick a card and drop, take a shortcut, play hopscotch, go best friend, then send them back. Run Paris, it's Chewbacca, grab your game piece, run home and stop, get your brother and your cousin, no one's safe, not even mom and pops. The urban legend, summer adventure, the journey to be cool. Meet me at the block party, run around, have fun and eat some food. Okay. Go. 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 Go.
Some people have to do things to find another source of income, because of COVID. As two successful entrepreneurs, in my eyes, what would be the advice you would give them? You're smiling, so y'all know you got a good answer. what would be the advice you give them to go ahead and they take that leap of faith and become that entrepreneur they always wanted to be?
We have God-given talents and gifts that He has given us, and I really just think like we could be successful and we can live a very peaceful, a very humble life if we really like sold into them and not be afraid to say, okay, if my gift is cooking, let me cook and be great at cooking. And guess what? My neighbor can benefit off my cooking. Right. That person may not be as great. That person may need meal prep. You may need me to go to the grocery store while I'm at the grocery store, whatever. These are just, natural things that, kind of come easily to us. And if you are in a situation where you're like, your back is against the wall and you're thinking like, well, what can I do? What can I do? I mean, really ask yourself, what are these things that make you happy too? And what are these things, that come kind of natural for you, and challenge yourself, see if there's something truly there and go for it. If you don't believe in yourself, who else is going to believe in you? And as a couple, if I don't believe in him, I don't know. I should be his wife. I feel I should believe and support him, and vice versa. And yeah.
And I would say invest in yourself. If you believe in your talent and you believe that you can do something, no one else is going to believe like you're going to believe. Like, and if you sell yourself, like I talked to a young lady when I was at St. Charlestown Mall, and she was an inspiring entrepreneur. And I said, you have to have a story. I say, everybody sells t-shirts, everybody sells beads and clothing and stuff like that. But why do they want to buy your beads? Why do they want to buy your clothing? Why do they want to, support you? And if you like when I was looking for myself, it was a need. There's a niche for what you do. And if you're successful and you believe in your talent and you invest and hone your skills, because this is my first board game I designed. So it took me practice. And my wife would tell you, I bought art books. I studied, I studied on drawing and, in the kitchen. Yes. Invest in your talent and it'll pay off in the long run, because if you do that, people will see your talent and they'll invest into you as well.
That's that's definitely something everybody should be listening to, for sure. Well, we're about to close, and this has been a very insightful discussion with you guys. And we want everybody out there to know how they can find you, how they can connect with you, how they can buy the book, how they can buy the board game, the trivia cards. Give them all the information that you want right now.
Follow us on
any
Facebook,
contact, social media, everything.
Urban Legend Series.
Yeah. The website is theurbanlegendseries.com. Facebook is at the Urban Legend Series. Also, Instagram is the Urban Legend Series. And you can find me on YouTube under the Urban Legend Series as well. And that's about it. You can purchase the game and book online at the website, theurbanlegendseries.com. And the trade.
Are you guys in stores? Any outlets yet?
Yes, we are.
Physical outlets?
Yeah, we're on Amazon. The book can be purchased on Amazon. Local stores, I'm in 6 local stores. I'm at MLK Mart in Glenarden. I'm at Gallery Africa, Anacostia Art Gallery. I'm at Culture Art Gallery, and Doors to Africa as well. And that's also in Laurel. I think that's it. Yeah, just those stores. And soon in the Smithsonian.
Cool. And plenty more. And once it grows, it'll be in every state and every city.
Yes.
in the city and the state and a bookstore and store near you.
Yes. And
Thank you guys.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you
Just
for your time.
Just one more thing.
Yeah.
Local businesses, Black-owned businesses who like to reach out and have my game in their store, they can reach me on the website, and I would definitely love to have my game in there. So just reach out to me, and I'll get it to you.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for your time, and thanks everyone for tuning in to the Say So to Grow segment of the Say So TV show. Until next time, I'm David Santiago. Peace.
Peace. Take it easy. Thanks for having us.
I am Alita Canty Lane. I am the CEO of Say So TV Show. It is a variety TV show with an inspirational spin, so that at any given time you can check on and click to see game shows, tutorials, teachings, DIYs and preachings, comedy, and so much more. Say So TV Show is the only show of its kind. There is not a show like it anywhere. We at Say So TV Show believe in allowing the redeemed of the Lord to say so. Say so.
Hello, greetings, God's people. This is Apostle Wisdom Edem Kusabo from Ghana, Accra. Shout out to Say So TV, and I recommend everybody to view and to watch Say So TV. Check it out on Kingdom Purpose TV. Say So TV. Remain a bliss.
Hi, I'm Pastor Angela Tyler from Greater Works Ministry. Please tune in to Say So TV show at kingdompurposetv.com.
Say so. Let the say so. Let the redeemed say so.
Hi, this is Tara Lewis Reed. I'm from Bowie, Maryland, and I watch Say So TV show, and you should too.
Hello, my name is Jolanda Bell. I'm from Jackson, Tennessee, and I'd like to send a shout out to the Say So TV show on kingdompurposetv.com.
What's going on? My name is Jason from Virginia. Make sure you watch Say So on kingdompurpose.com.
love, no matter what it looks like, no matter what it feels like, no matter what it seems like. Hey, you are love, no matter what it looks like, no matter what it feels like, no matter what it seems like. Hey, you are loved.
Say so. Let the rhythm take up. 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 Say so. Let the rhythm take up.